What if everything you thought you knew about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds wasn't the whole story for years? They've been Hollywood's golden couple, charming, philanthropic, funny, and seemingly scandal-proof, but now a shocking claim from Candace Owens has cracked that perfect image wide open. In a single sentence on her podcast, Owens mentioned a major court request filed by Blake and Ryan, one that's sealed, secretive, and largely ignored by the media. Since that moment, the internet has been asking, what are they hiding? Why did Candace bring it up? And most importantly, why is no one else talking about it? Because while mainstream outlets stay silent, creators, legal analysts, and digital watchdogs are uncovering a trail of redacted files, deleted articles, and takedown notices that paint a very different picture of this power couple's private world. In this full expose, we'll walk you through everything from the mysterious court filing Candace referenced to the vanishing online content, to the startup controversy that might just explain it all. No speculation, no hate, just facts verified. Sources and the evidence that has quietly surfaced over the past year. This isn't about cancel culture. It's about accountability, influence, and the strategies used by some of the most powerful names in Hollywood to control what the public sees and what it doesn't. So buckle up, because by the end of this series, you might never look at Blake, Ryan, or celebrity reputation the same way again. This is the full breakdown. Candace started, and we're finishing it. When Candace Owens speaks, the internet listens, whether to agree, disagree, or dissect every word. But when she turned her focus toward Hollywood's beloved couple Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, and made a shocking claim about a major court filing, it sparked a wildfire of curiosity, speculation, and digital sleuthing that hasn't died down. Since for years, Blake and Ryan have maintained a relatively scandal-free image. They're witty, philanthropic, and refreshingly low-key in an industry often fueled by chaos. So how did two of the most admired faces in Hollywood suddenly land in the center of what some are calling a media blackout-worthy legal controversy? Let's rewind. It started with a single unexpected statement from Candace Owens on her video podcast, a platform known for its hot takes and controversial headlines. During what seemed like a casual conversation about media hypocrisy and selective outrage, Candace suddenly dropped a sentence that left her audience stunned. I find it strange that no one is talking about the major court request just filed by Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, especially considering what it's tied to. She didn't elaborate much further at that moment, but the implications were enough to set off alarm bells across fan communities, gossip pages, and commentary channels alike. What major court request? Why was it being ignored by the mainstream press? And what exactly were Blake and Ryan trying to accomplish behind courtroom doors? As it turns out, this wasn't just some throwaway remark. Within hours, digital investigators began digging, and they did find something. A court filing had indeed been submitted by attorneys representing the Lively Reynolds household, but the details were sealed. The docket was public, the contents were not. That only raised more questions. For Candace Owens to reference something so specific, it meant she or her team had seen a version of the document before it was sealed, or had been tipped off by someone close to the source. Either way, it meant there was more to the story than met the eye. From that point on, the timeline moved fast. Within 2 days of her podcast release, Reddit threads, X formerly Twitter threads, and pop culture blogs began circulating speculation that the court request was tied to either a business dispute, a defamation claim, or a confidential media takedown strategy. Each theory had its supporters, and each added to the mystery. Adding fuel to the fire, legal experts began weighing and pointing out that while many celebrities file court requests related to privacy, contracts, even trademarks, it's rare to see both parties, especially a high-profile couple, file something jointly, unless it involves shared liability or joint representation. And that's where things got really interesting. Let's pause here and understand the dynamics. In most celebrity legal matters, even spouses file separately. They have separate PR teams, separate legal advisors, and separate financial interests. But this case, it had both names on the same motion, submitted through a high-profile Beverly Hills-based law firm known for its involvement in reputation protection, media suppression, and crisis mitigation. That's not a red flag yet, but it is a signal. This kind of representation usually means a few things. The matter is potentially damaging to both parties. There's a shared interest in keeping the matter confidential, and there may be media implications tied to digital content, online commentary, or leaks. Now back to Candace Owens. In the following episode of her podcast, after the buzz had erupted online, she offered a follow-up that was even more revealing. When people in power want things sealed, you should always ask, what are they afraid of? I'm not saying Blake and Ryan are guilty of anything, but I do know that documents don't get buried. unless they contain something worth hiding. That line reverberated across commentary spaces. YouTubers began referencing it. Independent journalists started pulling past articles on Blake and Ryan's media ventures. A few sharp-eyed followers even noticed that around the same time the court request was filed, several critical videos and blog posts about the couple disappeared without explanation. Coincidence or a larger strategy? Let's dig into some possibilities. Since the document is sealed, we can't state anything as fact. But based on the timeline and the surrounding behavior, 3 plausible theories have emerged, each supported by circumstantial though significant evidence. There's increasing speculation that the filing may be connected to a long-standing media partnership that recently soured. Certain entertainment journalists claimed they were asked to retract or revise past stories involving the couple's business ventures. Could this filing be an effort to formally remove or challenge online commentary they see as defamatory or misleading? This would line up with the disappearance of content online and would explain the urgency behind the court filing. Some believe the couple may be responding to leaked internal documents tied to a former brand endorsement or startup partnership. Several creators on TikTok and YouTube have hinted they received anonymous folders containing emails or voice notes allegedly linked to the couple's business discussions, none of which were meant for public view. Could this filing be an attempt to suppress the use sharing or commentary on such content? Another theory: the couple may be expecting a larger story to break and are setting up legal boundaries before that happens. In the age of digital journalism, preparing ahead of a storm is often a sign that someone knows what's coming and wants to shape the fallout before it arrives. Now, none of these theories implicate Blake or Ryan in wrongdoing, but they do hint at a truth that's becoming harder to deny. There's something happening behind the scenes that their teams don't want public, and Candace Owens intentionally or not ripped the lid off that conversation. Her comments didn't just stir speculation, they brought mainstream attention to something that may have otherwise slipped quietly into legal obscurity. Let's not forget, celebrity court filings happen every day. But this wasn't just about 2 celebrities. This was about what happens when influence, legal power, and digital reputation collide. And so part 1 of this expose ends with more questions than answers, but with a clear path forward. In the next part, we'll dive into what was happening around the time the court filing was submitted, the sudden disappearance of key online content, the reaction from digital creators who were directly or indirectly impacted, and how Candace Owens' credibility plays into the public's interpretation of the case. Because when public figures move silently and media platforms follow their lead, it's the independent voices that begin to shine the light. The storm truly began to brew after Candace Owens' bold statement left the internet buzzing with questions. As speculation exploded online, something else began happening, but it didn't make headlines. It was quiet, subtle, almost like someone was trying not to be noticed. Within just 48 hours of the clip going viral, creators and digital reporters began noticing that content connected to Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and certain business-related incidents had mysteriously vanished, not all at once but bit by bit, like someone pulling threads from a tapestry hoping no one would notice the gaps until it was too late. Let's break down exactly what happened and what it might mean. First, archived blog articles. Several entertainment websites, mostly smaller independently run outlets, reported that their pieces were taken down or replaced with 404 not found errors. Most notably, a 2023 article that discussed Lively's involvement with a now-defunct wellness startup was scrubbed from Google's search results. A Reddit user in the entertainment law subreddit posted a comparison of before and after screenshots using the Wayback Machine. The original article referenced Lively's advisory role, alleged brand decisions she'd approved, and a quote about her vision for women-led platforms. The updated version completely gone, not updated, deleted. Soon after, YouTubers noticed something strange too. Multiple commentary channels reported receiving takedown notices or content ID claims for videos that had been up for months or even years. These videos weren't necessarily negative. They simply referenced the business partnership, financial involvement, or unconfirmed quotes. But suddenly they were being flagged. One mid-sized creator who goes by the name T and Screen posted a video explaining the situation. When analyzing what all these deleted or restricted posts had in common, we found one recurring thread. They referenced a 2022 to 2023 brand partnership gone wrong. According to archived pages, the company, let's call it Wellness for anonymity, was a lifestyle startup focusing on mental health products and women-centered branding. Blake Lively was reportedly brought on as a creative advisor while Ryan Reynolds was rumored to be involved via his production company, which helped film the brand's first commercial. Everything seemed fine until early 2023 when the startup abruptly shut down. Insiders claimed unpaid vendors contract terminations, and even quiet legal threats between co-founders. But this story didn't go mainstream. It was covered only in niche circles, mostly business blogs and niche YouTube commentary. Until that, as Candace Owens reignited interest by bringing up the court filing. So why does this matter? Because the disappearing content wasn't about personal gossip. It was about business roles, media deals, and possible legal efforts to limit fallout. The more these creators spoke out, the clearer the pattern became, and it wasn't just takedowns. Some creators who used Lively and Reynolds names in their tags or titles saw sudden demonetizations or visibility drops, suggesting potential keyword suppression. Not everyone stayed silent. A few independent investigators began compiling evidence that content related to the couple was being actively removed or suppressed, not by YouTube directly, but possibly through third-party copyright enforcement agencies hired by reputation management firms. One document posted anonymously but not verified claimed that over 70 takedown requests had been filed in the last quarter alone, many under the same IP enforcement agency name. That's unusual volume, especially for a couple not publicly in crisis. Another well-known creator, Legalbyte, shared the following: when big-name celebrities use legal pressure to control narratives, it usually targets news articles. This feels different. They're going after commentary too. That's when we have to start asking what they're afraid people might find. The creator later showed analytics proving that 2 of their Blake and Ryan-related videos had sudden drops in visibility despite high engagement, suggesting algorithmic impact post-flagging. Still, none of this proved malice. After all, celebrities often work with brand protection teams to remove outdated or inaccurate content. But the coordinated nature of the removals, combined with Candace Owens' timing, made it feel like more than just routine cleanup. It felt like damage control. To understand what might be motivating this behind-the-scenes effort, we need to look at a timeline of events specifically related to Blake and Ryan's business involvements over the past 3 years. Mid-2021 reports emerge of Blake joining a women-focused startup as brand director. Late 2021, Ryan Reynolds' production team assists with filming branded ads. Mid-2022, the company experiences rapid growth, securing millions in investment. Early 2023, the startup shuts down amid rumors of financial mismanagement. Late 2023, private documents leak showing decision-making trails involving celebrity partners. Early 2024, lawsuit filed against the company by vendors and investors. Mid-2024, Blake and Ryan file a sealed court request. 1 week later, Candace Owens publicly references the filing. Everything suggests that something occurred between steps 5 and 7 that required legal attention. And once Owens brought it into the spotlight, the quiet campaign to manage public information seemed to accelerate. If you've been asking yourself why major entertainment media hasn't touched this story, you're not alone. The silence is deafening, but it's not unprecedented. Many entertainment outlets have long-standing partnerships with celebrity publicists. In exchange for access to premieres, interviews, and exclusives, they often avoid publishing damaging or unverifiable stories, especially when legal action is involved. And if Blake and Ryan's legal team filed a court request to suppress or manage digital narratives, as the timing suggests, most major outlets would hesitate to poke that bear. However, independent media isn't beholden to those rules, and creators with nothing to lose started asking the questions that mainstream reporters wouldn't. Interestingly, Candace Owens herself didn't dig much further into the story. After her initial comments, she referenced the court filing again, briefly, but didn't produce follow-up coverage. Some believe that may have been intentional. Candace is known for being bold but also strategic. By naming the issue and stepping back, she gave creators and viewers the keys. Without crossing the line into legal trouble herself, she may not have said everything she knows, but she said enough to unleash a wave of discovery. Now we're not here to accuse. We're here to ask the questions that most of the mainstream refuses to. Why would one of Hollywood's most admired couples, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, file a court request so quietly and seal it from public view? Why are creators, bloggers, and independent outlets reporting digital takedowns, suppressed videos, and disappearing articles, all tied to their past business ventures? And why did Candace Owens, someone known for calculated statements, risk the spotlight to say just enough, then go silent? Throughout this expose, we followed the timeline. From the moment Candace made her statement through the content cleanup, the legal context, and the background of the business that may have triggered it all. What we uncovered isn't conspiracy, it's a pattern of media-controlled digital erasure and legal shielding that raises more than a few eyebrows. Hollywood is built on image. Celebrities like Blake and Ryan don't just act in movies, they're brands. And those brands rely heavily on curated narratives and spotless reputations. So when that image is threatened, the machine kicks into motion. Lawyers, agents, PR consultants, media partners, copyright firms. What we're seeing now isn't necessarily a sign of guilt, but it is a sign of control. When voices go quiet, when videos vanish, and when lawsuits are sealed before the public even knows they exist, we must ask ourselves, what don't they want us to know? Candace Owens' comment was the spark. The silence that followed, that was the smoke. And this video, it's a flashlight aimed into the haze. Whether the court filing was about defamation, privacy, or corporate risk management, we may never know all the details. But the public deserves transparency, especially when influence is used to shape reality behind closed doors. This isn't about tearing anyone down. It's about demanding clarity from those who live in the spotlight and benefit from our attention. Trust and loyalty. The internet is changing. Creators are no longer powerless. Viewers are no longer passive, and reputation can't be protected by erasure, not anymore. So to the journalists who stayed quiet, ask why. To the fans who feel confused, keep asking questions. And to the creators who got hit for telling the truth, keep the receipts. Because in a world of curated images, sometimes the truth is the most disruptive thing of all. Thank you for watching this expose. Subscribe, stay aware, and never stop looking behind the curtain.